Okay, so today we are going to change the front struts on the Supra. And so the plan is to pull the struts off, take them apart, and we're going to do something different. We're going to install some KYB adjustable struts. They're really inserts for the MR2 rear. And so apparently these things are going to drop the ride height an inch, maybe an inch and a half, and it's going to give me the opportunity to change the dampening on the shock, well, the front strut, as well. So I'm excited to see how that turns out, and I'll take you guys along for the ride. Here we go. So the thing I remember about the last time I took this thing apart was you got to start loosening stuff up before you take it off. So go in here and loosen this one, go down here underneath, and up under there there's two bolts that go up in there, tie rods. Just start loosening stuff up before you start trying to take stuff off, because if you don't, then when you get it off of there, you're gonna have a heck of a time. So here we go. Okay, so next thing to do is go ahead and take the brake caliper off, and remember to loosen this up and then turn this, not this. Then you're gonna have to take this hose off all the way, and remember to have a pan to catch your brake fluid, and go ahead and tie this up inside here, up inside there, so that you can get it out of the way. Okay, so the shock, well, the strut is out, and I didn't have to take the tie rod off. These are all the parts. That's for the top, that's for the brake line, that's the other side of the brake line. There's the brake caliper, and then there's two bolts that go up under through here actually, and into the assembly. So that's where we're at, and I'll keep you posted. Same deal as the 82 MK2 front struts. These are not contained cylinders like the replacement that I'm going to put in. These are oil filled. Looks like there's a gasket, and there's gaskets underneath this. Keep all this in there. So just like the Celica, this Supra front strut assembly is like almost identical. And so like I said, I'm going to take some MR2 rear strut inserts, and they'll be adjustable and they'll be shorter. So we'll see how this works on the front end of the Supra. Okay, it is time to do an unboxing. I'm excited. So let's see what's in this thing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. KYB AGX. Adjustable shocks, yay. And, oh, by the way, it's going to drop it probably an inch, maybe an inch and a half. That's what they say. We'll find out. So that's the next thing. Put those struts together and get her back on the road. Okay, so here's the deal. The front struts, the OEM is right here. Here are the AGX. You can see the length is it's not the same, because here's the top, okay? So there's about an inch here, this distance from here to here. So, and then even the shaft is shorter, about right there. So the plan is to take these spacers and fill the bottom of this tube with the spacers, and that means it'll push this thing up, and it's not going to push it even, but because I'll run out of room at the top. But that's the plan. Fill that space and then put them together. All right, so this is what I found so far. So if I use 3 of these, it'll go in there, and I can get the shock, and I get the so I can get the shock, and I can get this OEM on top. This never did work. But with these 3, okay, so this is 7/16 of an inch total. Okay, so I think what's happening is this thing is tapered in there, because if I use 3, I can get the shock down in there, I can get this tightened all the way down. But if I put this 4th one in there, I can get the shock down in, but I can't even get these threads started. And this thing is worthless. This doesn't even, I can't even get it started. So that's where we're at, and I will keep you posted. Okay, so ended up getting 7 of those washers in there, and it gave me enough threads on that cap to get it down tight and get the shock insert up high as I possibly could. What I ended up doing was filing the edges of the thing, because it was getting bound up as it went down in the tube. So next objective is to get the spring compressed enough to get the cap on and get the whole thing back together. So we will see what happens. Okay, this is getting really interesting, because I'm pretty darn close. I'd say I'm within 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. But this compressed spring is about as far as it's gonna go. I got a little bit more, and I'm gonna give it some more. But yeah, this thing's close. So let's see what happens. But right in there is what you want to see. Right there. Okay. That flat edge needs to marry up with that other flat edge, so that when you put the screw, I mean the nut on top, the cap doesn't turn. That's what's happening. And then this darn thing is compressed about as far as it's going to go. Well, amazingly, I got it together. This is what happened. So the spring compressor was maxed out. I mean, I couldn't turn this one more turn. But, so yeah, it's maxed out. So what happened was, I was able to get this nut started. So I got the nut started, and as it tightened, this remaining spring was able to tighten down onto this piece down in here, and I caught a lip of it in the cap, and because this whole shaft was turning, I caught a lip of it and then just eased it on, and then as I tightened it, this gave enough tension or released enough space to tighten that top bolt, I think top nut on. So it's all together. I'm gonna release the tension from the spring compressors, and that's with 7 spacers in the bottom of it. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so here's a side-by-side comparison. The top one's the one that has the KYB AGX shock insert from a 91 MR2. It's the rear shock insert from an MR2 1991. And you know, I mean, it's definitely about an inch shorter, and the dampening is adjustable, so it ought to be pretty cool. Ought to work out pretty good, but it was a bear putting it together. Okay, so we're ready to install these front struts, and hoping that we are going to drop it an inch, maybe an inch and a half. We'll see. Okay, so I've cleaned up the engine bay a little bit, and I've been working on the struts for the front of the vehicle, and I've got them together. I'm getting ready to put the tires on. They are noticeably lower, and we will see just how low, but more to come. Okay, so I just came back. I drove the car, and the front end settled a little bit. I can tell you that the front end is solid. I mean, when I take corners now or hit bumps, it's solid. I have not adjusted the dampening on it, so I don't really know what the setting is, but the drop, I mean, it's minimal. I think that if I get some lowering springs, it's going to be a lot better. It is a little lower, but I've got a couple of pictures that I'm going to put at the end of this video. The first picture is going to be December of 2017 when I first got the car, and then another picture that I just took today for a comparison. Again, it's not dramatic, but it is a little lower. And the next project is going to be the fuel system and the turbo. We need to replace the turbo. So more to follow. That's it.